And welcome back. We are talking with State Senator Frank Lasee, Republican candidate for the 8th Congressional District, the seat being vacated by Reed Ribble. You grew up in a military family, dad a Marine. What kind of an insight does that give you if you do make it to Congress?
Well, I was born in Oceanside, California, in a military hospital, the Naval Hospital. So my dad was serving in the Marines at Camp Pendleton. So my younger years, I very much remember him. And then he served for decades. I'm not sure how long. I think he retired from the military reserve, so every year he'd go for his 2 weeks of service, and every weekend, once a month, he'd go and do those things. And kind of the discipline. And I remember my dad saying often to me as I was growing up when I was a young kid, a couple different phrases, but one of them was, "Frank, you know the difference between right and wrong. Do right." And if I did something wrong, I'd always get that sort of space. You know the difference. Do right. So I've been trying to do that in my life. And the other one was, and that was a head scratcher until I've gotten much older as a young kid, was, you know, Frank, if you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. And but I just don't feel enthusiastic right now.
Sometimes you don't, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He said, just act that way and you'll get that way. And as I've gotten a little bit older, starting to find out that, you know what, there's a lot of truth to that. But when I was young, I thought, well, what are you telling me, Dad? So my dad was a big enthusiastic man. We've actually been shrinking a little bit. My grandfather, Lasee, was sheriff in this area back in the 50s and 60s. Lasee, and he was a big man, about 6'7" and 300 pounds, and knew everybody and could remember everyone's name. I wish I had that skill, and thankfully many people are forgiving. But he was, both of them, my dad and he, my grandfather Rube, were able to just remember everybody.
With that military background, what do you see as our three biggest security issues? Well,
the security issues, and it's number one, we need to rebuild our military and refocus our military. It's kind of diffuse, and it's been really, I kind of think, I would say battered and not really paid attention to. We need to have a military that's strong outside of our country. ISIS is a major threat overseas. We're going to continue to see the extreme Islamists who are doing bad things around the world, not just in the Middle East, but they're expanding into Africa, Asia. I mean, it's very much of a problem. And then here at home as well, we need to make sure that people here in the 8th District are safe and secure. That's not a military role so much. Hopefully they fight them and take them, keep them busy overseas. But here we need to have the FBI, the NSA, and our local police forces all communicating and making sure they have the resources to keep us safe from domestic terrorism as well. So those are the big major issues that we need to have. And I really believe in the VA hospital needs work. I mean, the VA hospital just needs some attention and real work to be better and serve. My father had some long-term illness and really benefited from the VA hospital system. Sometimes it wasn't so good, but it was so good to have it there and available. So that would be something that I would spend my time and attention on. I also won an award from the AMVETS for the Legislative Advocacy Award in 2013 because I just have I think without freedom, without people protecting our country, we can't have freedom. Then we need economic freedom, private property rights, the rule of law, the rule of contract. If we don't have those, we can't have freedom. We need a vibrant economy so that we can pay taxes so our government can serve us. And those things all fit to us. We need to have security from abroad and here from terrorism and bad things that happen. And we need economic security as well. And the third, and it fits into economic security really, is the third major issue is balancing our budget, stopping the overspending. $19 trillion in debt and growing is just far, far too much. And we need to turn that back as well. So we have that full economic security going on for my kids and future grandkids and yours and everyone else's. Yes.
Point of national security. Earlier this week, Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson presented the President's 2017 budget proposal for the Department of Homeland Security. One of those requests, $1.6 billion for cybersecurity. That's an increase of more than $200 million from our current fiscal year. At the same time, one of Johnson's top advisors says defeating ISIS is the top priority. In your view, what takes more precedence, cybersecurity or ISIS, terrorism?
I think we need both. I mean, and I don't know if 200 million is the right number. I'm not, I haven't dug into the details of that. That's something that I always do on the major issues. I dig into the details and really look at them and try to make a difference within them when we put forward proposals. But cybersecurity, more and more attacks, and I just visited a company up in Sturgeon Bay that makes large manufacturing pieces and equipment, and they have a lot of different patents. And they said they had gotten a visit from the FBI who said, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when the Chinese are going to break into your computer systems and steal your patents and put them to use against you. And some of the reading I've done, and some of the best cybersecurity people in the world are Israelis, because they seem to be under attack all the time, and then they get out of the military and take their training out and provide security.
Right.
So this is a real issue, and it's not only that, but it's military secrets and other secrets, and cybersecurity is very important, as well as the use of the internet to recruit terrorists, whether to come and fight in the Middle East or in Africa or Europe, or do domestic terrorism here. And I would expect and hope, and I would have to dig into the details to find out, and if it wasn't the case, I'd be directing them to put more effort into that as well, because it's an important part of cutting them off from their supply of bad people to do bad things.
More with Senator Lasee talking about the atmosphere in Washington, our national debate on policy and presidential candidates, and how it impacts the congressional race. So stay with us.